Hi, my name is Jeremy Shirky, and I'm going to provide you background info on the North African campaign. Here are some specific events. On June 10th, 1940, Italy declared war on Britain. June 11th, attacked Malta British skirmish in the African desert. September 13th, Italy launches failed invasion of Egypt. October 28th, Italy begins invasion of Greece. On November, Greek resistance forces Italians to retreat. On April 6, 1941, Germany attacks Yugoslavia. On April 17th, Yugoslavia surrenders. Late April, British forces retreat from Greece. May 20, German forces attack British troops on Crete. Your major key players in this battle are Benito Mussolini, and he is an Italian fascist prime minister whose territorial ambitions drew Italy into the war in June 1940. Erwin Rommel, German field marshal and tank specialist, helped Italian forces in Egypt, was also involved in later North African campaigns. So here's a little bit of a background story for the North African campaign. During the scramble for Africa, many European nations thought that they could imperialize Africa and exploit their natural resources and manual labor. Many of the European countries said it was important to imperialize Africa because they needed help and it were to better the country. But if you ask anyone who lived in Africa during this time period, they will disagree. In the very beginning, Africa was divided among the Europeans, and the decisions that were being made outside of Africa in London, Paris, and Lisbon, and other European capitals. The main reasons for imperializing Africa were to gain power and to gain wealth, and to exploit the natural resources that weaker countries had. Also, imperialism helped countries with markets and marketing their goods, and it helped sell goods and gain wealth. Britain and France were the main/biggest imperialist countries against Africa because all of the countries in France were competing against each other for marketing and wealth and natural resources. This race for Africa was known as the Race for Africa or the Scramble for Africa. Invasions happened along with occupations, colonization, and annexations of the African territory. So that is basically the background info on Africa and how it got involved in World War II. Hi, I'm here to discuss the specific locations, also nations, where the fighting took place for the North African campaign. The North African campaign, or also known as the Desert War, took place in North African deserts during World War II between 1940 and 1943. North Africa is a region generally considered to include Algeria, Egypt, Libya, Morocco, Sudan, Tunisia, and the Western Sahara Desert. The North African campaign was fought mainly for two reasons. The first was the Suez Canal, which was crucial to controlling the Middle East. The second reason was Middle Eastern oil resources.
Hi, I'm Jake, and I'm going to discuss the role of the United States in the North American campaign. The role of the United States was to aid the British and the French in North Africa. American forces convoyed directly from the United States landed along the Atlantic coast of French Morocco near Casablanca. Meanwhile, American and British troops sailing from England landed in Algeria, while the Allies tightened their grip on Morocco and Algeria. Their troops raced to reach strategic positions in neighboring Tunisia. A month earlier, the British in Egypt, under Lieutenant General Sir Bernard L. Montgomery, had mounted a powerful attack from the Germans at Al and Maine, sending Rommel and his German-Italian Panzer Army reeling back into Libya, leaving Montgomery's troops trapped between the British and Egypt and incoming Allied soldiers. The two most famous commanding generals during the North African campaign were George S. Patton and Dwight D. Eisenhower. Now I'm going to finish up this video with discussing Operation Torch. Operation Torch was a joint military operation between the United States and Britain. Winston Churchill and Roosevelt worked together to come up with this plan. Generals that used all this throughout the campaign were American General Dwight Eisenhower and his right-hand man Mark Clark. From North America, the North Africa, the plan was to invade Sicily and then on to mainland Italy and move up there, the so-called soft underbelly of Europe. Victory in the region would also do a great deal to clear the Mediterranean Sea of excess shipping and leave it free for the Allies to use. The Allies planned to invade Morocco and Algeria. Both of these countries were under the nominal rule of Vichy France, as the Vichy government in France was seen by the Allies to be collaboration with the Nazi Germany. Both North African states were considered to be a legitimate target. The key to the torch was a successful amphibious landing. 3 landing sites were chosen: Casablanca, Oran, and Algiers. The Western Task Force was to land near Casablanca at Safi Rabat, Mahdia, and Major General George Patton. The central task was to land at Oran. It was commanded by Major General Lloyd Frendall. The Eastern Task Force was to land at Algiers, and General Ryder commanded it. The landings at the 3 beaches were highly successful. French resistance had been minimal as Allied casualties, as were Allied casualties. After consolidating their forces, the Allies moved out into Tunisia. After Montgomery's success at El Alamein, the Africa Corps was in retreat. However, the further it moved west from El Alamein, the nearer it got to the recently landed Allied troops. Though damaged, the Africa Corps was still at a potent force, as the Allies found out at Fade Pass and at Kasserine Pass. However, the might of 2 advancing Allied armies meant that it was trapped on the May 7, 1943 Africa Corps surrendered.
Desert during World War II between 1940 and 1943. North Africa is a region generally considered to Sorry, I was
However, the further it moved,